Welcome back to Epic Movie Home. Today I'll be showing you an action crime movie of 2021, titled Wrath of Man. The movie begins by showing two people, who are working as money transporters, in a money transfer company called Fortico. The two are currently transferring a huge amount of $6 million, in the company's armored truck. But suddenly, a group of road workers blocked the road, and in fact they were not road workers at all, but an armed gang who wanted to steal the money. After breaking into the truck, they throws a flash bomb which makes the two money transporters lose their balance. The disguised road workers kills the two money transporters and get away with the money. A person named Patrick wants to get a job in Fortico, the company that was robbed. The company's manager informs Patrick about the recent robbery that happened, which results to the death of two of their workers, and tells him that the job is a very dangerous one. But Patrick assured him that he have a good experience, having worked for security companies in the past. Then Patrick was introduced to a person named Bullet, who will be the person responsible for training Patrick. Bullet nicknamed Patrick H, and tells him that he must pass at least 70% of the tests, for him to be accepted for the job. The test includes his physical fitness, shooting skills, and driving abilities. Patrick manages to get exactly 70% of the tests, and it seems he deliberately do it. Patrick is accepted for the job, and Bullet takes Patrick in and introduces him to the rest of the team. Among them was a guy named Dave, who is trying to taunt Patrick because he's a newbie in the business. Bullet gives Patrick a gun, and then Patrick goes out for his first mission, and the mission is with Dave because Dave's previous partner got fired. Dave was furious because his partner for the mission will be Patrick. Dave warns Patrick not to talk to him until they completes their mission, while Bullet watches from behind. He followed them so as to introduce Mike to the nature of their job. They receive a large amount of money, and puts it in their truck before returning back to the company's headquarters safely. The next day, Patrick and Dave are on a mission, and are to transport $2 million. Dave makes a call to Bullet, but overhears through the radio that a gang has taken Bullet hostage. One of the gang members asks them to come to a specific location or else, Bullet will be killed. Dave is terrified and tells Patrick that they should return back to the company, but Patrick assures him that they're going to be safe. They arrives at the given location, and the gang threatens they will kill Bullet if the money is not given to them. Patrick opens the truck door, and begins to throw bags of money in the gang's van. But he deliberately throws one of the bags on the ground, and one of the gang members get down from the car to take the bag, but Patrick kills him. He manages to take out all of the gang members but one, who tries to escape. Patrick tracks him down and shoots his arm. While on the ground, Patrick holds him at gunpoint and asks which party he works for. But the gang member refuses to speak up, so Patrick clears him off. Dave and Bullet were amazed by Patrick's fighting skills and experience. While back at the company, Patrick was asked how he manages to take off 6 people without a scratch, but Patrick tells them it's a beginner's luck. The investigator shows Patrick the video of the first theft that happened, and asks him if there's a common factor between the two operations, but Patrick says he have no clue. The company's manager then informs Patrick that the company's policy states employees are to take a month off work, whenever an accident occurs on a mission, but Patrick refuses to take the leave. The company's CEO arrives, and tells the manager to treat Patrick as a hero, in order to get an incentive for the rest of the employees. Later that evening, one of Patrick's colleagues comes to give him a file that contains all the information about the employees of Fortico. The next day, the other employees greets and applauds Patrick for saving Bullet. Patrick then goes out on a money transfer mission with Bullet. But suddenly, there's a gang blocking the road in front of them, and they start spraying black dye on the truck's windows. They then throws tear gas into the car and instructs Patrick and Bullet to get off the truck. But as soon as Patrick gets outside of the truck, the gang ran away as if they've seen a monster. Back at the company's CEO was surprised at what happened and why the gang members ran away, when they saw Patrick. Dana, one of Patrick's colleagues, invited him to a dinner, and they have a cool time together. Almost dawn, Patrick finds a sum of money with Dana and asks her about the source of the money. He fires 2 shots near Dana to threaten her, and Dana confesses that she stole the money from the company's car while others were not around. Patrick tells her that if he finds out she's telling a lie, he will eliminate all her household members. The scene then goes back 5 months into time, and it shows Patrick and his son getting ready to get into a car. But a call comes to Patrick for help from his assistant, Mike, who was the person that ran away when he saw Patrick during the robbery. Mike asks him to watch one of the cars that Patrick works with now and tell them the route of this car. At first, Patrick refuses and tells them that today is his day off from work, and he wants to go out with his son. But Mike begs Patrick to go, because the guy who's supposed to do the job had a motorcycle accident. Patrick then agrees because the task happens to be an easy one, and drives to the location with his son in the car. When he arrives at the location, he left his son in the car and tells him he wants to get their lunch. Patrick follows the truck's path and tells Mike which direction the car has gone. But suddenly some disguised road workers block the road, and kills the two transporters in the car. One of the gang members takes Patrick's son out of the car, and shoots him because he's the only eyewitness. Patrick was shocked by what he saw, and runs towards them to save his son, but one of the gang members shoots him down. Although he's on the ground, Patrick was watching the person who killed his son in the face and saved his features. This was the exact reason Patrick joins the company he's working for now, Fortico, so as to avenge his son's death. Patrick was admitted into the hospital and manages to survive. After getting out of the hospital, his ex-wife comes to him to blame him about their son's death, and tells him that he's the reason for it. Patrick meets the secret agent who works in the intelligence, who consoles him about his son's death. He let it known to Patrick that the members of the gang are unknown, but he gives Patrick a list of the names of the most notorious gangs that may be involved in his son's death. Patrick instructs all his men to investigate all the gangs on the list, and his men go ahead to kill dozens of gang members found on the list, but they fail to find the person who killed Patrick's son. Mike tells Patrick that he's worried the gangsters will come after them, and tells him not to go after the rest of the gangs anymore. Patrick agrees and tells him he's going to travel to London, so cool off his head. But in fact, Patrick didn't travel at all, but went to meet a friend, who he asks to help him forge his identity and his certificates of experience in security companies. And then Patrick goes to Fortico to work for them, in hope that the gang who killed his son will appear someday. The scene cuts to the gang who killed Patrick's son, who were all former soldiers in the U.S. Army force, and their leader is Sergeant Jeff. They were all average men struggling for survival, until one of them, who works as a security in a jewelry store, suggested that should rob the store. They go to the store and stole some few jewelry, but the money gotten from the robbery isn't enough for them. The exact person who kills Patrick's son, Jan, insinuates that their leader, Jeff, is taking larger share of the robberies. But not all of the gang members agrees with him. Then someone suggests that they steal from money transfer companies, and tells them that he knows someone who works for a security company who could help them. They went for the first operation and it was a successful one, and they finds out that stealing money from transport vehicles is way more easier than they've imagined, so they decides to steal a larger amount. Jeff tells them that there is a security company that will transfer $6 million, and he tells them there's someone within the company that can help them get it but will also have his own share of the robbery. Then they prepared to carry out the operation and they all dressed as road workers. This was the same day Patrick's son got killed, after witnessing the gang members kills the money transporters and get away with the money. After the successful operation, the gang members gathered and are suggesting ideas for a more bigger robbery. Jeff tells them about an operation, and tells them if it happens to be a successful one, they will not need money again for the rest of their lives. He tells them they're going to rob the security company headquarters that Patrick works for, Fortico, on Black Friday, because the company will receive the sum of $160 million in their headquarters that day. He told them that the money will be divided among themselves and the trader who works for the company. Back at Fortico, the company's manager is in a panic state because he's afraid that a robbery is likely to occur on Black Friday. Bullet reassures the manager and tells him everything will go on fine. On the day of the operation, Jeff calls the trader who works for the security company, telling him that they're set to embark on the operation. By then, the manager of the company is talking to the employees, and tells them to return safely after transferring the money. Patrick and Bullet goes out on a mission as usual, and are about to reach the destination when Bullet suddenly confesses to Patrick, and tells him that he's the traitor who works for the gangs. He warns Patrick not to act funny, because he has already removed his ammunition, and that the gang members will ride in the truck with them to enter into the company's headquarters. Bullet disconnects the cameras in the car that are associated with the company. Bullet allows the gangsters into the car and instructs Patrick to keep calm. The gangsters arrived at the company and instructs everyone to get on their knees. All the employees in the company surrendered as they were unprepared about the robbery incident. Patrick was tied and threw in the ground, while Bullet acts along playing the role of the hostage. A gunfire ensues between the gangsters and the company's securities, but they were overpowered by the gangsters because they've more advanced ammunition than them. They starts to pack all the money from the shelves and are preparing to escape. One of the gangsters was shot in the neck by Patrick, who by now have freed himself from his bondage. Dave was trying to help Patrick, but the company's manager asks him to hide, and wait until the police arrives. Patrick wears the gang's uniform and disguises as one of them, which makes him kill 2 more members of the gang. But the traitor, Bullet, goes to Dana and a colleague and requested for a gun, acting like he's going to help, but when a gun was given to him he killed the both of them. Patrick manages to kill most of the gang members, but Bullet sneaks up from his behind and shoots him. Bullet also went after Dave as well and killed him. The gangsters manages to escape from the company while the police gave them a chase. Jeff was seriously injured and knows he's not going to survive, so he instructs Jan and Bullet to take out all the money to another car they've prepared in order to escape through the tunnels. Jeff knows that Jan would betray him, so he prepared a gun to kill him, but Jan was the fastest shooter. Jan and Bullet escapes through the garage tunnels. While Jan goes to open the road barriers, Bullet squats and tries to kill Jan in order to get all the money for himself. But Jan, who already know what will happen, kills Bullet and takes all the money away with a different car, so that the police won't be able to track him down. Later that night, Jan have gotten home and was alone celebrating about his new wealth. But suddenly he hears a phone ringing, which has been hidden among the stacks of money. When he looks back, he finds Patrick sitting on one of the chairs. Patrick throws a file at him which contains his son's death report, and asks him to read it out aloud. Jan tries to buy Patrick off with the money, but Patrick refuses and decides to kill him same way he killed his son. Patrick shots Jan in the same places his son was shot. The movie comes to an end when he came out of the house, and tells the intelligence agent that he has completed his mission, which offered a great assistance for Patrick to find his son's killers. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to click on one of the videos on the screen now after subscribing to the channel.